Kevin O'Leary, who joins us now. Kevin, you're a business guy who makes decisions about where to invest and how important a lower corporate tax rate is. What does it mean for American workers? If the tax rate is 28% or 20%, what difference does that make for American workers?
Well, we're starting to see debate in this presidential cycle around policy, and this is a big one. So obviously the Trump administration proposing as low as 15 to 21 and Biden at 28. What this really says is, where do you fit in the G7 and G20 in terms of competition? Right now, we're sort of in the top of the second quartile. Going to 28 puts you, in terms of tax competitiveness, at the bottom. And that's not good, because over time, it's not just domestic capital that matters. It's attracting capital to America for CapEx expenditures to create jobs. And so when you make yourself incredibly uncompetitive on a corporate tax rate basis at 28, you're going to scare away capital, and slowly that will show up. And that's how we had all that contortion 10, 15 years ago when companies, drug companies particularly, left for Ireland. You can't tax companies into oblivion. They just move. Companies aren't people.
Okay.
They're entities.
Can we talk about people? Because Trump is coming out and he says that he wants to reduce or eliminate taxes on tips. Do you like that?
That was really interesting for Nevada, which is a very pro kind of individual entrepreneur 1099 kind of economy, where you make your money on tips, and obviously you're dealing with taxes. This has been a debate for a very long time, particularly in the gig economy. It's a smart political move. It's going to help a lot of people that are self-employed, if you think about it that way. And that's what I see it for. Is it a massive economic move? Not really. It's a good rounder kind of let's get some votes in states where we don't think we're going to win. I get it. I totally get it. And not a bad move, but it's not a big game changer for American competition.
And when you talk about a corporate tax rate that Biden is proposing, about 28%, Kevin, I think about the restaurant industry already suffering. You're seeing fast food chains closing stores and also laying off employees. They've got higher costs. They're paying higher wages. Then you're seeing less foot traffic. That tells me that fundamentally things are slowing down. That's not the time that you want to squeeze these businesses harder.
No, it's a triple whammy. You have people's preferences and how they dine after the pandemic has changed dramatically. They don't go out as much, and that's nothing to do with inflation. Then you have inflation itself, both in the protein inflation, and in the case of Red Lobster, protein and the lobster meat's very, very volatile in the price, and it's really hurt them. But also you've got policy mistakes. I'm here in California shooting season 16 of Shark Tank. The casual dining sector in this state has been decimated by policy mistake on minimum wage. Yeah. They're shutting down left and right. I mean, Gavin Newsom made a huge mistake. I think he knows that now. He's turning this state into a sort of a version of Venezuela, and it's just killing business. Not only in restaurants, but in everything. There's all kinds of capital leaving here for more competitive states, and that's a good thing. Competition of states in America. You see what's going on in Tennessee, Florida, Texas. They're dragging all these companies that can't make money anymore in Gavin Newsom's. I can't be, listen, I've met him. He's a nice guy, but I can't be more critical for his policies. He's a bad manager. He's decimated this place. I've been coming here for 15 years. This is a shell of what it used to be.
But it also speaks to your point. Companies, businesses, their entities, they can move with their feet to show you that they don't support the policy.
Yeah, so you can see Kevin O'Leary, he talked about a few things. You know, he talked about lowering taxes and tips, you know, for restaurant workers. Also, he talked about, you know, company taxes, you know, raising them up and everything. And he also talked about the state of California of what Gavin Newsom's doing of raising minimum wage to $20 and how, you know, it's hurting companies and how companies are continuing to move out of California. So he jumped into a lot of things. But go ahead, Roddy. You know, what was some takes that you got from Kevin O'Leary that, you know, that really popped your eye what he was talking about?
Yeah, when it comes to the aspect of corporate tax, remember the way the system run is the more the government tax the corporation, the harder it is when it comes to the aspect of employment. Not only that, but also to create more leverage and like more businesses and stuff like that. Corporate tax is very important. That's why this presidential election is very, very important, because based on based on who's going to be the next president, is either they're going to raise the taxes or make the taxes easier for the corporations so they can create more businesses and all that, but also give people more opportunity to get raises and also to grow in the company. But if someone else come into office and raise the taxes, it's gonna be very hard for some people that are employed and for also new employers that's trying to get into the employment field. It's gonna be very difficult. So that's why a lot of these people like Kevin O'Leary, Warren Buffett, listen, like powerful pioneers on Mark Cuban, they always talk about corporate tax because that will drive America is corporations. So the easier it is on the corporate tax, the better it is for Americans so they can go out there and leverage the opportunity and not only that, but able to grow it within the company. Go ahead.
No, definitely. Jordan, you've extensively talked about this. You know what I mean? And we see where the way the economy going, the way the country is being run, and we know that fundamentally we need businesses. Capitalism is the only thing that's going to keep us here afloat. That's how the country's always been built. We've noticed the shift. I've noticed restaurants being closing down and jobs are getting more tighter and tighter to get. And you know what I mean? And even the entrepreneurs are suffering. So we do need a more aggressive policy plan that's going to benefit people on the both sides. Lower taxes for businesses to allow them to come here and, you know what I mean, to have a cut so they can be able to have operational costs and do different things. You know what I mean? A lot of average people don't know how much it costs just on payroll. You feel what I'm trying to say? So corporate tax is going to shift people to go international when they did before.
I really want to talk about the state of California. What Kerry Lilly made his last point about, Governor Newsom and everything. There's always, like, if you live in California, especially Southern California, there's always, if you drive around certain parts of LA, there's always, well, not that I was in the union, but there's always, some type of what's the word? Strike against, companies, pay more wages and everything. You go about restaurants, McDonald's to hotels, other restaurants and everything, As I live in Los Angeles, it's it's very expensive here, with the living, groceries, gas, this is something else. Gas is high. So, with minimum wage, everybody, majority of people that live at minimum wage here, they want more money and everything, which I get. But the thing is, it's like, you work at McDonald's, you work at a Home Depot, you work for Food for Less, grocery stores and everything, minimum wage is supposed to be minimum wage and everything. You can't put, $15, $16, but the minimum wage is not $20 an hour and everything, and the thing is, it hurts companies and everything when you got to pay more. And the thing is, they got to cut hours, and they also got to, lay people off and everything. And what Governor Newsom is trying to do, I know it's expensive here, but you keep raising the minimum wage up and everything, and and the thing is, it's like you cutting people's jobs and everything that's been working a long time, or they got to cut people that's been working a long time, give them a severance pay and everything, or some of these companies got to close down and everything. I see a lot of Red Lobster, they're closing down. This is one place too I was looking at that's closing down too. But a lot of these restaurants, they can't really afford minimum wage here, and they really got to close down. I don't know how it is in San Francisco, because San Francisco, they're more expensive than us, and also Silicon Valley and everything. But Governor Newsom, when it comes to the economics, when it comes to money, he's doing an awful job and everything. And I don't know a lot of people, vote for him for the second time. I really know because people think people here in the state think he did an absolutely good job. Once pandemic happened and everything, how he really shut the state down and tightened up and everything. He had very strict laws, but yeah, when it comes to this economy thing, he's terrible. And in the next 2 years, I hope we get a new get a new governor who really can fix these the economy and also fix these policies, because some of these policies is really strict, especially for housing. It's extremely hard to get a house here in California. Extremely hard. I'm not talking about how much it is, but also the policy as well. It's extremely hard to buy a house. That's why you live in California. majority, I'll say 80% of people, rent here, maybe even 85. I'm talking about from Southern California and Northern California. It's just getting ridiculous, and also with the companies and everything, strict policies with companies. That's why you see a lot of companies leaving, especially with Silicon Valley. With Tesla. When they moved out of California, moved to Texas and everything. And the thing is, with these policies, you can, what Kevin Lillary says about, you get the other states that's taking advantage of it. Florida, Tennessee, Texas. They're really taking advantages of how the policies are it's not so strict as is in California and everything. So hopefully in the next 4 or 5 years, California get it together, especially in the governor, and I just hope that we get better. If we don't get better, I love California, but if I want to have more kids, man, and if I want to get a house, it might be the last resort that I might got to get out of California. I love it here, I really do, but if it gets worse, you might see me packing out, give my wife and my kids, and probably move to another state. So that's my take on that.